here's a painful truth nobody talks about. The richest people you'll ever meet don't look rich. They drive average cars, they shop sales, they don't post vacations on Instagram, and yet, quietly, consistently, they are building wealth that most people will never touch in their entire lifetime. Meanwhile, the people who look rich, most of them are broke, living paycheck to paycheck behind designer clothes and lease payments. So what's actually going on? There's a name for what the quietly wealthy do. It's called stealth wealth, and it is built on habits. Not luck, not inheritance, not a viral moment. By the end of this video, you'll know all 15 of them. And if you start applying even just 3 or 4, your financial life will never look the same. Let's count them down. Before we get into the habits, let's kill a myth. Most people believe wealth is about how much money you make. It isn't. Wealth is about how much money you keep and what you do with it while you hold it. The average lottery winner is broke within 5 years, not because money ran out, because the habits weren't there. On the other hand, study after study on self-made millionaires shows one thing over and over again. They weren't geniuses. They weren't born into it. They didn't get lucky. They had systems. Simple, boring, repeatable systems. Stealth wealth isn't a secret club. It's a set of habits practiced so quietly and so consistently that by the time the world notices, the game is already won. Let's go through the top 15 of them. Welcome to Luxiq, a channel dedicated to the art of building wealth and a luxurious life. We motivate you to learn essential financial skills and knowledge that school education failed to. So make sure to take notes and subscribe to the channel for regular updates. Habit 15, protect wealth as aggressively as they build it. Building wealth without protecting it is like filling a bathtub without a plug. Stealth wealth people take protection seriously. They have insurance, health, life, disability. They have wills. They diversify so no single event destroys everything. Most people skip this step because it's boring and it feels like spending money on nothing until they need it. And then it's the most important money they ever spent. Here's the brutal truth. One uninsured medical event, one lawsuit, one catastrophic loss without coverage can wipe out a decade of disciplined saving in an instant. The quiet, wealthy know this. They spend modestly on lifestyle and generously on protection. Build the wall, then guard the gate. Habit 14, learn about money continuously. Here's one of the biggest dividers between people who build wealth and people who don't. Wealthy people treat financial education like a subscription, something they continuously invest in. The average person learns the basics in their 20s, if at all, and then stops. But the financial world changes, tax laws change, investment vehicles evolve, new tools emerge, and the person who stays educated stays ahead. This doesn't mean spending thousands on courses. It means reading one good book on money per quarter, listening to quality podcasts, understanding your own tax situation, learning what an index fund actually is before you invest in one. Knowledge compounds just like money does. A 1-hour investment in financial education can be worth more than a year of working. Habit 13, ignore social pressure to spend. This habit might be the hardest one on this list because the pressure to spend is not just advertising. It's your friends, your family, your culture, the birthday dinners at expensive restaurants, the group vacations on credit, the treat yourself culture that's everywhere you look. And nobody wants to look like the person who can't afford things. Here's the thing. The quietly wealthy often can afford things. They choose not to buy them. That choice is not deprivation. It's a decision about priorities. When a friend drives a new luxury car, the stealth wealth person doesn't feel envy. They feel nothing. Or maybe a quiet recognition. I know what that car actually cost them. The goal is not to impress people with money. The goal is to use money to buy freedom. Let me ask you something directly. How many times have you bought something just because you were bored, stressed, trying to feel better? That's not spending. That's a silent leak draining your future. And it's happening right now, every single day, to people who swear they want to be wealthy. Habit 12, have no emotional relationship with money. Most people have a deeply emotional relationship with money. They feel guilty spending it. They feel anxious when it's low. They feel proud when they flash it. Quietly, wealthy people treat money like a tool, not a status symbol, not a source of self-worth. A tool. You don't get emotional about your hammer, you just use it. When the market drops, they don't panic sell. When they get a bonus, they don't splurge to celebrate. When a friend shows off, they don't feel the urge to compete. Here's the real danger of emotional money decisions. Research shows that emotional investors underperform the market by an average of 1.5 to 3% per year. That sounds small, but over 30 years, that gap means hundreds of thousands of dollars. Emotion is the most expensive thing you can bring to a financial decision. Strip it out. Make decisions with a calculator, not feelings. Habit 11, buy assets, not status. Robert Kiyosaki's most important idea from Rich Dad, Poor Dad wasn't complicated. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out. The quietly wealthy spend their surplus on assets, index funds, real estate, businesses, things that grow or generate income over time. The average person spends their surplus on status, new cars, new clothes, new phones, things that depreciate the moment they're purchased. Notice what the wealthy person has that the other doesn't. Something that works for them while they sleep. It's not that status purchases are evil. It's that every dollar spent on status is a dollar that isn't being turned into a machine that generates more dollars. Ask of every major purchase, is this an asset or a status symbol? Then decide accordingly. Habit 10, master one income stream before chasing 10. There's an obsession in personal finance content with multiple income streams. And yes, eventually, multiple streams are powerful. But here's what nobody tells you. Trying to build 5 income streams at once usually means building 5 mediocre ones. And scattered attention produces scattered results. Stealth wealth people do something differently. They master their primary income source first. They become genuinely excellent at what they do. They earn more within their current lane. And then, once that engine is running smoothly and generating surplus, they add a second stream. Carefully, strategically. Think of it like building a river, not a sprinkler system. One deep, powerful channel beats 10 shallow ones every time. Depth before width. Excellence before expansion. Stop for a second. 69% of Americans, nearly 7 out of 10 people, could not handle a $1,000 emergency without going into debt. That's not a money problem, that's a habit problem. And the next habit addresses it directly. Habit 9, build an emergency fund. First, before everything else. Here's why most wealth-building plans fail before they begin. People start investing while carrying zero financial buffer. Then life happens, a job loss, a car breakdown, a medical bill, and they're forced to sell investments or take on debt just to survive. Back to zero. Or worse. Stealth wealth people build a wall first. A 3 to 6 month emergency fund, sitting in a high yield savings account, doing nothing except existing. It's not exciting, it doesn't compound fast, but it protects everything else. Your investments can only grow when you don't need to touch them. The emergency fund makes that possible. The emergency fund isn't a financial tool, it's armor. Habit 8, are ruthless about eliminating lifestyle debt. There are 2 kinds of debt in this world. Debt that builds something, a mortgage on a reasonable home, a business loan with a clear return. That debt has a place. And then there is lifestyle debt, credit card balances for dinners and clothes and electronics you no longer have, car loans on vehicles you can't afford, buy now, pay later spirals. Lifestyle debt is not neutral. It is a reverse investment. You are paying a company, often 18 to 24% annual interest, for the privilege of spending money you didn't have. The quietly wealthy are ruthless about eliminating this. They attack it aggressively, sometimes obsessively, because they understand something critical. You cannot build wealth while hemorrhaging money to interest payments. Every dollar you pay in lifestyle debt interest is a dollar that will never grow for you. Kill the debt, then redirect that payment into wealth. Habit 7, automate everything they possibly can. Willpower is a limited resource. It runs out. The quietly wealthy don't rely on willpower to save money. They build systems that save money without requiring a decision. Automatic investments, automatic savings, automatic bill payments to avoid late fees. Every time you have to manually decide whether to transfer money into savings, you introduce a failure point. You might be tired, stressed. You might convince yourself you'll do it next week. Automation removes the decision entirely. Think about it. Your employer probably already automates your retirement contribution. If you have a 401k, you don't think about it. You don't miss it. It just happens. Apply that same logic to every financial goal. Don't rely on discipline. Build a system that doesn't need you. Freedom looks different to different people. Maybe it's retiring at 50. Maybe it's never taking a job you hate. Maybe it's being there for your kids in a way your parents couldn't be for you. Whatever it is, that image in your head, that is what these habits are actually building. Not a number, a life. Habit 6. Treat their net worth like a score, not a secret. What gets measured gets managed. You've probably heard that. But do you actually do it? Quietly, wealthy people know their net worth. Not roughly, specifically. They know what they own, what they owe, and what the gap is. Most people, they have a vague sense that things are okay or not great. That vagueness is the problem. You cannot steer a car you can't see. Net worth is simple. Everything you own minus everything you owe. Track it monthly. Even if the number is negative right now, especially if it's negative, start tracking it. Because the moment you start watching the number, you start thinking differently about every purchase and every decision. The scoreboard changes the game. Start keeping score. Habit 5, have long time horizons. Here's a question most people never seriously ask themselves. What does my life look like at 60? At 70? The quietly wealthy think in decades. Every decision, investments, career moves, where they live, what they study, gets filtered through a long-term lens. Most people think in weeks, months, at best. This difference in time horizon explains almost everything. The person thinking in weeks buys the flashy thing now. The person thinking in decades asks, if I don't buy this, what does that money become in 20 years? This isn't about sacrificing today. It's about understanding that today's choices are literally building tomorrow's options. Short-term thinking creates long-term problems. Long-term thinking creates short-term patience. Here's a challenge. Pause this video for 30 seconds. Picture yourself at 70 years old. Do you want to be working because you have to? Or because you want to? That image, hold it. Because the habits we're talking about today are the only things that actually change which version of that future you end up in. Habit 4, invest consistently, not perfectly. The biggest lie the internet tells about investing is that you need the perfect moment, the perfect stock, the perfect strategy. You don't. You need consistency. There's a concept called dollar cost averaging. You invest the same fixed amount every month, regardless of whether the market is up or down. It removes the guesswork. It removes the fear. It removes the need to be a genius. Here's a number that should change how you see this. If you invest just $300 a month starting at age 25 and earn an average return of 8% annually, you'll have over $1 million by age 65. $300 a month. That's a gym membership and 2 dinners out. The contrast, most people wait for the right time, which means they wait forever. Don't time the market. Time in the market is what builds wealth. Habit 3, live below their means, not at them. Here's something that will surprise you. The average millionaire in America drives a car worth less than $35,000. Not a Ferrari, not a BMW, a Toyota, a Honda, something sensible. That's not an accident. Most people live at their means. They earn more, they spend more. Every raise gets absorbed immediately by lifestyle upgrades. The quietly wealthy don't do that. They let their lifestyle grow slower than their income. When they get a raise, they save the raise. When their income doubles, their lifestyle barely changes. The result? The gap between what they earn and what they spend, that gap becomes investable wealth. Think of it like a balloon. When you inflate it, you can either hold the air in or let it escape. Most people let it escape through lifestyle spending the second it arrives. Stealth wealth is simply this. inflate the balloon and keep the air. Habit 2, are patient enough to let compounding do its work. Albert Einstein reportedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he actually said that doesn't matter. The math is real. And the single greatest obstacle to compounding is impatience. People invest for 2 years, see modest gains, and quit. They never see the part of the graph where the line goes vertical, because that part happens in year 15, year 20, year 30. The compounding curve is not linear. It is slow for a long time, and then it becomes almost violent in its growth. The quietly wealthy understand this in their bones. They don't chase quick returns. They don't panic in corrections. They simply stay in the game long enough for the math to work. The secret to compounding is refusing to stop it. That's it. Stay in. Stay patient. Let time do what you can't. Habit 1. Pay themselves. First, without exception. We saved the most important one for last. Most people spend their money and save what's left. Stealth wealth people save first and spend what's left. That one sentence is the difference between a retirement account and a regret. Here's how it works. The moment a paycheck hits, a fixed percentage, usually 20%, sometimes more, goes directly into savings or investments, automatically, before it can be spent. The contrast, the average person sees their full paycheck, tells themselves they'll save later, and later never comes. Warren Buffett said it best: do not save what is left after spending, spend what is left after saving. That's not a clever quote. That's a blueprint. If you take one habit from this entire video, make it this one: pay yourself first, automate it, never negotiate with yourself about it. We just covered a lot. Let's lock it all in. Here is the full summary, all 15 habits. Habit 15, protect your wealth as aggressively as you build it. Insurance, wills, diversification. Build the wall and guard the gate. Habit 14, never stop learning about money. Read, listen, stay educated. Knowledge compounds just like cash does. Habit 13, ignore the pressure to spend. Keeping up with others is the fastest route to staying broke. Use money to buy freedom, not applause. Habit 12, remove emotion from financial decisions. Treat money like a tool. Make decisions with a calculator, not feelings. Habit 11, buy assets, not status. Ask of every major purchase: does this put money in my pocket or take it out? Habit 10, master one income stream before chasing many. Go deep before you go wide. Excellence before expansion. Habit 9, build your emergency fund before anything else. It isn't exciting, but it's the armor that keeps everything else intact. Habit 8, kill lifestyle debt aggressively. You cannot build wealth and pay 20% interest at the same time. One has to go first. Habit 7, automate everything. Remove the need to decide. Build a system that works without you. Habit 6, know your net worth and track it monthly. You cannot improve what you refuse to measure. Habit 5, think in decades, not days. The person who wins financially is the one playing the longest game in the room. Habit 4, invest consistently, not perfectly. $300 a month, every month, without fail. That is a millionaire's strategy. Habit 3, live below your means. Let the gap between income and lifestyle become the engine of your wealth. Habit 2, trust compounding and never interrupt it. Slow first, then violent. Stay in long enough to see the curve go vertical. And habit 1, pay yourself first. Every single paycheck. Before everything else, this is the one habit that makes all the others possible. None of this is complicated. None of it requires a special degree or a six-figure income or a lucky break. It requires one thing: that you start today. The quietly wealthy aren't smarter than you. They're not luckier than you. They simply started earlier and stayed consistent longer. The neighbor who retires at 55 while everyone else is still grinding at 70, he paid himself first at 28 and never stopped. The woman who travels the world without checking her bank balance, she killed her debt at 30 and invested the difference every month without fail. Ordinary people, extraordinary habits, quietly, consistently, invisibly, building a life most people only dream about. That's stealth wealth. And now you have the map. If you want to go deeper on any of these habits, I put together more on this channel that will show you exactly how to apply them. Hit subscribe. You don't want to miss what's coming next.